Joining me now is author and political commentator Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
When God looked at man, he said it's not good for man to be alone. He gave him a woman. He didn't give him a village. He didn't give him the community. He said, be fruitful and multiply to this man and this woman. So it's supposed to be God, husband, wife.
If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got.
Hello, 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 and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Shaking My Head with Shemeka Michelle. Today, we're going to discuss the Minnesota Pirates, how they stole millions. I also have, guys, a special guest, Nzinga Harris, who I've known for a few years. And once I bring her up, I'm going to tell you a little story that this will be her first time hearing it, my thoughts about her when I first met her. So I'm going to have her come up. We're going to introduce her. She's going to introduce herself. She's going to pop her collar. And then we're going to watch about 4 minutes of a newscast. Hannity's going to bring everybody up to speed on what's going on with these Somalian pirates stealing billions of dollars or possibly billions of dollars in Minnesota. Welcome, head shakers. Welcome, Mrs. Nzinga Harris. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why you have the authority to speak on it. Nzinga, pop your collar.
My name's Nzinga Harris. I'm a YouTuber, a mother, I'm an Orthodox Christian, and I give prescriptions to social and cultural brain rot. And I think my Christianity gives me authority. And my husband is super based, and he told me that I'm allowed to stream. So here I am.
Listen, so I've never told you this story before, right?
Oh, man.
So when I first met you, like I was looking like with the side eye, with my eyebrow raised, right? Because I'm not a Republican. I'm unaffiliated. I don't know where you stand, but I met you coming to Raleigh to do the Black Conservative Coalition, the meetings that they used to have, which was held in the Republican whatever.
The headquarters, yeah.
Yes, the headquarters. And so I remember looking at you. I think you had braids at the time. And so there's this thing in my opinion where if you have a Black, because this was years ago and I was new to all of this. So I would see like Republican Black women who would have like either blonde hair or really bad weaves or wigs. Almost like when you see a Republican Black man who looks like he gets his hair cut at Great Clips, like he's never set foot in a Black barbershop where they sit around and just talk jive all day. And so here it was, this young Black girl, she had braids, and I'm like, oh, she's Black. Like, we're Black, you know? And so it's just funny because I remember thinking, she's so down to earth. She is kind. You know, you weren't snooty or snotty. You didn't have this bad attitude. You weren't uppity, because some of them were in that little meeting. And it was just refreshing. Like, you were so kind. And I just thought, I like this girl. She is just a very sweet spirit. So when I first met you, that's what I was looking at. I was shocked because at the time, everything was a shocker for me because I had just been told a certain thing about, number one, Republicans in general, and then number two, Black Republicans. It's almost the same way I felt when I met and their names are escaping me right now, but he ran for office in Atlanta, and his wife is Black. Janelle, that's her name. When I first met them, and I think his name is Kevin, I was like, oh my God, So they do marry each other. I was just shocked. So, meeting you, I was like, oh my God. I felt like, when the Christmas Eminem commercial and the Eminem looks at Santa and he's like, they do exist. And Santa looks at the Eminem like, they do exist. That's how I felt when I first met you. Like, they do exist.
Well, that's a change of pace because most people think I'm like really stuck up. Like I think
Really?
like I think I'm better than everyone, which I don't think that at all. Um, but I remember that and I had a feeling you were kind of like I didn't know if you were like I don't know her or if you were just shy or something and I was like maybe she's kind of like measuring me, sizing me up or something like that.
Yes.
And
I
like,
mean,
I understand what you're saying because people do that, and I have worn the bad weaves. You can go through my Facebook. I'm not taking them down because I'm proud of the fact that I've grown, but I have, like I tried wigs and stuff, and it was just hot, and I used to go to the bathroom at work and take it off and, like, air out and stuff, and so
really?
I didn't yeah, it was just hot, and, anyway, and then there was a point in my life where I kinda had to do wigs because I had to go through chemo, so I had to shave my head, so sometimes I was out bald and sometimes I wore a wig. It's just been a journey for me, and I'm not good at hair. It's just hard in these streets.
Yeah, you were so kind that even when it came to your journey with cancer, I'm like, okay, now, God, this one, she got to stick around
Yeah,
because,
don't
you
take it out,
know,
Lord.
you were just really, really kind to me. I mean, you made me feel like I was supposed to be there. I was welcome, and I can't say I got that feeling from everybody.
There's a
So,
lot of gatekeeping in I'm still registered a Republican. I'm still,
mm,
like, in those circles. I don't work in the party anymore, but there's a
mhm,
little bit of gatekeeping, and I think with the women, it's like a competition, like, who's gonna get to
yes.
speak at this dinner? It's like, I don't care, the chicken sucks. It doesn't
Okay.
matter, like, mission is what matters, and I'll do whatever I can to help it, even if it's behind the scenes, but everyone doesn't have that view.
Right, exactly. And you're right. I think that is a big deal. And I hate to I see this a lot, even especially online when it comes to conservative Black conservative women. There is a lot of the gatekeeping. There is a lot of I want to be the one that speaks on this
Mhm.
platform or the one that people watch. And I've always just felt like if it can be multiple in any other group, then it can be multiple with us. There should
Right.
be no type of gatekeeping. And I don't understand why there's that thought process. It's aggravating, but I definitely see it for sure.
Mhm. Well, that's why
Yeah.
they're drawn to the Republican Party, though, to be honest, because Republicans and I guess this is just party politics, they think about getting elected and not necessarily the mission.
Right.
So, if you're that type of person that's thinking about what's gonna be good for you, then
Mhm.
you'll do really well in politics, probably.
Right. Right. Because thinking about the mission, it's like, oh, I keep coming back, even though I would really wash my hands of it. I keep coming back because of the mission. And I do feel like a lot of the policies or way of thinking are better.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
they're more profitable for people. And I don't mean that just on a financial level, like just when it comes to the family, when it comes to education, I do think that many of the ideas of conservatism are better in making people, you know, just better people all the way
Mhm.
around.
I
Yeah.
agree. Mhm.
So we're gonna talk about what's going on. I was getting ready to say in Somalia.
Right. Pretty much.
Right. But in Minnesota, the I'm the captain now. It's so many Somalians in Minnesota, and now we have this big fraud happening or going on. I'm gonna play this Hannity newscast. I really had a different one before, and then it went to Hannity, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this one. It's about 4 minutes long, just for everybody to kind of come up to speed with what's going on. Thank you, Head Shakers, for being here. I see you. And I'll come back to say hello individually if I can. But thank you all for being here. We're just going to play this Hannity clip. Like I said, it's about 4 minutes long, but and I haven't watched this one. I watched a different one, but I think this will give us a different spin simply because, when you pull up the liberal ones, sometimes they tell it to you the way they want you to hear it. I mean, I guess everybody does, but here we go. Let me make sure the volume is all the way up, and it is.
As we speak, a historic level of fraud and taxpayer theft is now being uncovered. Guess what? In Congresswoman Omar's Minnesota, we're told the amount stolen could be in the billions. The administrator for the Centers for Medicare, Medicaid, Dr. Mehmet Oz, is on now, and he has been tracking that fraud, and he's here to explain it. All right, Dr. Oz, you know more about this than anybody. We know fraudsters in Minnesota, over $1 billion. I'll give you one example. If you look at the autism program in Minnesota, 2018, we spent $3 million. Now, 2023, the last year we have numbers for, $400 million. Okay, and how much of that is going into the Somali community? Has that been institutionalized?
They've weaponized fraud and corruption. Talking with the CMS team that I'm blessed to work with, they say they've never seen anything like this as an abject dereliction of duty. And I think what happened, and just becoming clearer now, is that the Walz administration knew there was a problem. Whistleblowers were saying, this money's being stolen. You gave a great number with autism. I can regale you with a bunch more. But nobody wanted to rock the boat because it turns out Somalians overwhelmingly vote for Democrats. They felt it would look bad for them to go after these people that they knew were guilty. And it was the Somalian community, in fact, that it finally came forward and said enough is enough. And we see people buying luxury cars, shipping money back to our home country, maybe even to terrorist organizations. And it was with that urging, we finally found out what was happening. But here's the deal. President Trump's not going to tolerate this. Understandably, no American should want their tax dollars being siphoned off to Somalians living in Minnesota, who then ship it over to Africa or other places where it can be used for purposes that it was not designed. They're taking away the benefits that our most vulnerable desperately need when they steal from autistic children or from homeless people with substance use disorder. So we made a very clear line in the sand. By the end of this month, we need some type of a written plan from Governor Walz's team. Every week we want audits. We're demanding this. And by the end of January, if they have not cleaned up this disaster, this mess, then Governor Walz should start looking for loose change under his couch, because we are going to shut down funding of these programs, the 14 additional programs, besides the one for transportation that for housing that we already shut down.
Well, 2.6 million, what was originally proposed, now it's over 100 million?
For that one program, but you add them all. And Sean, here's the thing. These programs were designed for the sickest of the sick, people who are vulnerable. Imagine what happens if you're a child on the autism spectrum, mom and dad are barely keeping things together, and all of a sudden every other kid on the block and every kid in the Somalian community has autism. And all of a sudden, you've got these massive increases in expenditures. You can't get access to care. And now we've got to come in and clean it up. What happens? These kids get hurt. The same for homeless people who desperately need housing short term when they get out of a hospital. What about getting transported to a clinic to get your dialysis? All that's going to go away, Sean, because the Somalian community figured out a way of hacking the system. And then when they weaponized it, nobody was watching. And Sean, this is the part that gets me animated. It's not just in Minnesota. It's the worst that's ever been in Minnesota. But you go to Los Angeles, you've got these ethnic mafia groups that are able to hack into our hospice systems. They're destroying home health care. There are 5 times more durable medical equipment suppliers in Florida than there are McDonald's. We think the Cuban government's involved there. We broke up a $15 billion multinational criminal organization based out of Russia. But again, if they get the money, it doesn't matter. We have to stop the money from leaving the building. And that's what President Trump wants us to do by working across agencies to shut down these scandalous efforts.
And Walz was warned by whistleblowers, and he didn't want to pay attention. He didn't want to alienate a big voting bloc. Dr. Oz, great job, and keep us updated. That's a lot of taxpayer money.
That's a lot of taxpayer money. When you first heard about this, Nzinga, what stood out to you?
I'm sick of these people. I'm so sick of these immigrants coming over here and just acting like this is just a free for all. They can break the law. They get away with it for the most part, especially during the Biden administration.
Mm-hmm.
And when Dr. Oz, which is so bizarre watching Dr. Oz talk about
Right.
politics, but whatever. I did a quick AI search on the amount of corruption in the Somalian government.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a corruption percentage index. Somalia scored in 2024 a 9 out of 100. 0 means highly corrupted.
Mm.
Corruption permeates public procurement, judiciary, military, and aid distribution, with up to 70 to 80% of funds reportedly diverted or misappropriated. So, you know what we as Americans did? We were smart. We said, let's bring a bunch of these people with as corrupt as they are, and let's
Mhm.
just stick them in Minnesota where they're not going to get enough vitamin D for their Black bodies. It
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense. It pisses me off because some of this was federal taxpayer corruption or federal funds that were being corrupted. So who knows? You know, the little bit of money that I make probably went to some non-autistic Somalian kid in
Right.
Somalia with an AK-47. It just
Exactly.
pisses me off.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because the previous news broadcast that I had up, of course, I could tell it was left leaning because they made President Trump the bad guy. Like, oh, this, he's attacking Somalians, and spoke to someone who was a part of, I think, the city council saying, how does this make you feel? And the person was saying, oh, we're afraid in the community because, of course, yes, some of them did commit this fraud, but it's not everybody, which is true. I get the whole it's not everybody thing, but when it's to the tune of $1 billion and you have something like 400,000 for autism, and so much of that is going towards the Somalian community, who, in my opinion, is very disrespectful. When we saw the mayor, we look at Ilhan Omar, that guy was running for mayor, they were talking in their own language. They were waving their own flag. So it's not even as if they come over here and really want to get accustomed or gain American traditions. They are coming over here from there, as I think President Trump would probably say, shithole country, and turning it into a shithole over here. And it's frustrating because you have someone like Walz, who is the governor, who can't be trusted. I mean, he was the one who allowed tampons in the boys' bathrooms in high schools or whatever. They're just very disrespectful. And now there's this kind of sentiment going on online that as American Black people, we should be getting behind them and supporting them because, of course, we understand our ancestors,
F you.
Oh,
F you. I hate this so much. It's like there was a event a few years. This was in 2020, I think, right before the pandemic. Clarence Henderson, the civil rights giant, he was at an event with Diamond and Silk, and they were talking about Black issues and stuff like that. And he started talking about how the Skittles people and all these other different groups hijacked the civil rights movement. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And Diamond and Silk were like, well, Clarence is old school, and try to kind of skirt around it. But I'm like, no, we have to call this out because now we have immigrants, Mexicans, Venezuelans, Somalians. They're all jumping on the civil rights talking points. Like we're victims. These are our oppressors. So you should let us get away with whatever we want to get away with. And it just pisses me off. And it makes you question the civil rights movement. Like, I know that it started from communist ideas out of Russia, and it was brought here to the Black community to create a bloody civil war. And it's like, okay, it didn't create necessarily a bloody civil war, But now it's in all these other groups, and they're
Mhm.
using the same talking points, and it's ripping America apart and pitting countrymen against each other. So now they're telling the Americans, the browner Americans, that they need to be on their side because we're brown too, don't you see? And they
Right.
don't even, and they know, like we all know that Black Americans and these Africans, that we don't get along. We don't consider each other the same. That's
Right.
ridiculous. The cultures are totally different. And you call it a shithole country. Do you know the average IQ of a Somalian?
I know that it's low. I don't know exactly what it is,
It
but I've
is
seen people talk about it.
retarded. There be our country says if you have what is it, 70 to 75 IQ, then you
Mhm.
are legally retarded, right?
Mhm.
Their average IQ is 67.7.
Mm.
And we said, let's get a bunch of those people and drop them in Minnesota. It makes no
Right.
sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. And you said something, God, what did you say? This is why I typically write down and have notes so that I can remember, because I'm telling you, I don't know if you've experienced it yet, but the more kids you have, the worse your memory gets. And then
Oh,
as you
indeed.
get older and, um, but it's so frustrating because, as you said, I don't understand why we won't call it out. And when it comes to, like you said, people hate to say something about the civil rights movement. I am one of the people that believe forced integration was not helpful for the
No.
Black community. I feel like it made Black people lazy, and it
Mhm.
frustrates me when I hear things like, oh, our ancestors built this, our ancestors built that. And it's like, well, you haven't done anything since then. Ever since they put the dogs away and the water hoses and the whips, you haven't done anything since then but sit around and act as if somebody is supposed to give you something. I feel like
Mhm.
we are very intelligent people, just as anybody else, but when that intelligence doesn't have to kick in, it's just made us very lazy and, to me,
Mhm.
complacent. Like, you think about how many Black hospitals do we have, which we would have a lot more if we knew, okay, we needed these hospitals and these Black doctors and these Black engineers, and we needed these people so that we could actually function. Once we didn't need them anymore, it's like everybody wants to be this rapper. Everybody wants to be an athlete. And I'm just looking around like, I hate the idea of forced integration. I feel like if there was more of a need to compete, we would be competitive.
I
And,
think
and
if
just,
this country sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say I agree with you, and I think if this country had stayed black and white, and this is no hate to any Hispanics out there, I do know that Mexican Americans played a part in Texas and the creation of this country. I get that, but if the country had stayed mostly black and white, I think integration would have happened naturally because we wouldn't have introduced all these other cultures.
Mhm.
And let's say, the civil rights movement never happened and we never had some Russian spy come over here and create a revolution in the Black community. I think what would have happened is we would have had a cohesive, similar culture, and
Mhm.
maybe the South would still be like mostly Black, and all the other states would have been mostly white. It would have started mixing naturally, I think. But
Mhm.
if you like they call it a melting pot. If you add too many, like if you start with 2 ingredients, you could probably make that kind of good. But if you start adding all kinds of effing seasonings and different meats and all this different crap and vegetables and stuff in there, then what do you have? You have Indian slop from the street Indian food where they
Right.
cook it with their feet and their toenails.
Right. And it doesn't taste good at all.
No,
Um, Nor is it good for you. And I feel like that's
no.
where we are. And it is so frustrating when you say that so many things are trying to piggyback off the civil rights movement. That's one of the things that really irritated me about the whole Equality Act, because a lot of people, you hear the word equality and you think, oh, we should be equal. There's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of people didn't realize that was them just giving a new name to the Civil Rights Act, wanting to allow the whole transgender stuff to kind of just ride in on the whole what we claim our ancestors fought for this. Well, why then are you just letting and I don't want to say the F word, but you know what I mean, it rhymes with maggot. Why are you just letting some maggots want to ride in on what you claim your ancestors fought for? You're not even paying attention that because you hear equality and you just think, okay, this is, I don't know, Jim Crow era. We're fighting for equality. That's what I feel like the Democrats like to push. And I think that's why they play on the heartstrings of Black Americans, because if you make Black Americans feel like they haven't progressed, we're still in the Jim Crow era, or we're still in slavery, then you can really just get anything past them because they're being emotional and not actually looking at what's taking place and what's happening. It's so frustrating when here we are in 2025, we have to tell Black Americans, like, no, you have the same rights. You are here. This is your country. It's so frustrating.
It is. I was a juror one time when I was 8 months pregnant with my oldest daughter. And after the whole thing, it was about a shooting. And I'm really, really into guns. And so even though I was 8 months pregnant and had doctor's appointments, they were like, sorry, we need you in this. So I went. And after the trial was over, I was walking next to another Black juror, and she was into guns as well. And she said, yeah, because the defendant was a Black guy. And she said, yeah, I was not about to ruin his life. And he really didn't. He didn't do anything wrong. He was fine. He didn't break the law. And so he was acquitted. And she said, yeah, well, I was not about to ruin that man's life because, the Constitution ain't for us. But she carried a gun every day.
Right.
And I was just like, what is she? I didn't go there because, we were in the court. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to fight her. And I just was like, what? How does that even make sense? Like, they don't even think beyond the talking points at all. They don't even try to. And it's like, you can't even work with someone who carries a gun every day and then says the Second Amendment doesn't apply to us. It's like, you literally carry a gun every day. What do you mean it doesn't apply to you? Are you breaking the law? And did you admit that to me?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I don't even think some of them pay attention. Like, even if you just focus in on the Second Amendment, most people that I know feel like they should be able to carry a gun. And many of them do carry a gun. So it's like, even if you just come down to that one thing, why are you still rehearsing the same BS that has been rehearsed for years? Like, I'm one of these people that feel like I should not be saying the same things that maybe my grandmother said, because I didn't experience what she experienced. She's 91 years old. She had a different experience, just as my children should not be rehearsing those same talking points, because they have it much better than my grandmother, who's 91. Like, for every generation, we should be getting better. We should be understanding freedom a bit more. We should be more, I feel like, more invested into the country because of all the freedoms that we get to experience. Instead, you will hear a child that's 18 saying the same things as someone who grew up during the fight for civil rights. Like, how are you saying the same stuff? And this is how they get a community full of immigrants in Minnesota who don't care anything about the country. And this is happening across the country, not just in Minnesota, but we have so many people that come here and want to wave their own flag, and they hate the country. And so many Black people allow that to happen because we're still sitting around hating the country. And it's like, come on, y'all. Now we're looking up, and it's like a lot of these immigrants, they have took control, and suddenly the system is theirs now.
New York City.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Dr. Oz which I feel like he should be disgraced. Like he lost that one Senate race. It's like, why are we still talking to you? You're a loser. But anyway,
Right.
I was reading a New York Post article about this fraud, the welfare fraud with the Somalians. And this guy who's a retired Seattle police detective, and he worked on the Joint Terrorism Task Force. His name is Glenn Kearns. This is what he said. He said, every scrap of economic activity in the Twin Cities, in America, throughout Western Europe, anywhere Somalis are concentrated, every cent that is sent back to Somalia benefits Al-Shabaab in some way, which is a terrorist organization. So it's just like, well, how do we know they hate America? Well, they're sending money to our enemies. Our government looks at Al-Shabaab and says they are a terrorist organization. They're a threat to our country. And they've probably had, we don't even know how many American dollars has been sent to Al-Shabaab, but it's probably in the millions. And it happens all over the world. So wherever these people go, there's something about these like desert lands in that area in like Asia and like Kazakhstan or wherever. They go to the West because they hate us and they're jealous and they hate our religion. And they try to infiltrate and they think of themselves like cancer, like a disease. I did a stream the other night on Izat about these Indian people and how they do whatever means necessary to get honor and respect in their culture, including lying and scamming. That's why Indians are such scammers. They scam their own governments, they scam each other, they lie to each other, and then they come to our countries in the West and they do the same thing. And even if they're wrong, like the guy who killed those 3 people with the semi-truck, they're like, oh, this is bad as that. We got to get him off by any means necessary, even if we have to lie and pretend he cares.
Right.
Somalia is a similar culture, and us importing them, people who hate us, people who support terrorist organizations, doesn't make any sense. And the only thing I can think is that it's on purpose. The same reason why Soviet Russia came over here to make Black people hate white people.
Right.
And they used real issues, but they turned it up to 11 and poured gasoline on it. And that's literally what these other cultures are doing when they come over here. And I honestly, I want every single one of them deported. I don't care how long they've been here. I don't care if you were born in Somalia, get the hell out. I don't care. Like, there's probably, like, I've been to church with people who are like Hispanics, but they're here illegally. And I'm like, get the F out. What are you doing? This isn't Christian. You're stealing. The car you have could have gone to an American. The job you have could have gone to an American. The food you've got could have gone to an American. The house you live in or the apartment could have gone to an American. You are a thief through and through. I'm just so sick of immigration. I cannot express it anymore.
And when it comes to the Somalians, the fact that they do have such a low IQ is very easy, I feel like, for them to be manipulated. And so they come in here and it's easy for Democrats to manipulate them. They are not smart. And so here you have a voting bloc that will continue to just go along with you because they're getting all of these handouts. When we look at what happened in Minnesota, do you think is this a failure of policy enforcement or something more organized? You said that you feel like it's on purpose. I certainly do as well. But like, how deep do you think it goes?
I wonder if it's just well, it's got to be at the federal level. Right? I mean, isn't it the federal government that allows people in or out? And so maybe it's not the Trump administration, but we all know that these bureaucracies have some real issues. These people stay in those jobs forever. They don't have a name. We don't know who they are. And they control our lives and they make or break the country. I'm thinking it's at the federal level, and it's people we don't know that we can't name, we can't identify because they're just nameless bureaucrats.
Right. What do you think this says about accountability? Because again, when I was listening to the previous broadcast about it, they were more upset about President Trump using the word garbage, it seemed, than the actual fraud itself. And so I feel like this allows them to skate skate around the accountability and us not really make this a big deal, because I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. But I heard a lot of people from Senator Elizabeth Warren on down focusing in on garbage opposed
Mm-hmm.
to the fraud.
Mm-hmm. I think the people in the media are just, what do you call it? They just, I mean, you tell them to jump, they say how high. They're just
Right.
like border collies that just do what they're told. I don't think they're all that smart. They literally just read a teleprompter. They're not that smart. Um, they just do what they're told. And then you have people like Elizabeth Warren, who kind of knows the game a little bit more. I think she does what she's told too. But I do think that there is kind of a deep state, maybe elitists trying to control things on the global level going on. How deep, I don't know. But I think that that does happen. And I think those people hate the West because if you think about America, we're individualistic, at least we used to be, and we have our God. But if you have people who are individualistic and they worship the same God, those people can't be controlled. So I think this is a part of the plan to destroy the West. If you look at what's already happened in Europe, Europe is cooked. I mean,
Right.
all these places that I've always wanted to visit my entire life, London, places in
Yes.
Italy and Spain, they are
Yeah.
shitholes. You
Yes.
cannot go there. You can't go outside being a woman. I saw a video the other day, a few weeks ago, of a woman. What happened is this random guy who was walking his dog. He was a British guy. He got stabbed to death for no reason, unprovoked. He was just walking his dog, and an immigrant walked by and decided, "You're the one today," and stabbed him to death. And this woman called into a British show, like a radio show, and she's on the phone weeping
I
because she
heard
said, "I
that.
can't go out at night." Yeah, she said, "I
Yes.
can't go out without a man with me." She's scared to death. She's trying to get her son to leave the country because she doesn't know if her son's going to get stabbed to death himself. And
Right.
so they're trying to do that here. Luckily, America's big and we have a huge tug of war going on. So there's a lot of people that understand, like you and me, and we're fighting tooth and nail. But I think it's just a ploy to destroy the West because I do think that there is a one world government idea that they want to happen. And so they're using these retards to do it.
Right.
I think the Hitler and them did the same thing with I can't remember what country it is, but with Arabs, it's just like these brown people in those countries, they've always been used as like pawns to destroy God-fearing people. And even though like people don't go to church as much as they used to in America, we still have a Christian culture where we have like
Right.
certain rules and things that we do and things that we don't do that other cultures don't have. And it's based in Christianity. So,
Yeah, and I think I've met a lot of atheists who prefer excuse me, who prefer being in a Christian country, so to speak. Like they feel like, okay, they love the idea that most people here are Christians, or we have this Christian way of thinking, even if they don't believe, like that's their religion of choice, I guess I should
mm-hmm,
say. And I'm with you. I do think just like communism or Marxism, the idea is to destroy the West, which is
mm-hmm,
why it's so frustrating to me when I see uh politicians who are just willfully going along with the process. It's like,
mm-hmm,
have you read a book? Do you know who Karl Marx is? Like, do you
mm-hmm,
understand at all? Do you believe in Agenda 2030? Like, do you believe that the World Economic Forum is possibly, evil? Do you think there's a such thing as globalism? Like, I wonder these things when I talk to people who just seem to just kind of be going along to get along, not paying attention. Like you said, thankfully, we're a big place. There are a lot of people who are fighting against it, but I just don't think we can ever really like exhale because you have so many stupid people
mm-hmm.
who aren't paying attention.
Yeah, they use the dummies for sure. I mean, Kamala Harris being one,
Hmm.
but these people are stupid and they just want to be elevated and they don't care who they have to step on or what has to be destroyed. or what lies they have to tell to get there. And it's really sad.
So I have a question for you. Two questions actually. Maybe a bit controversial. Um, which one should I start with? Let's start with Ilhan Omar. I don't, the fact that she actually made it into office is crazy to me, right? And some people would say I shouldn't say this, which is why I'm going to say it anyway. To have someone in government in a hijab or whatever is like, what are we doing? Which ties into I want you to comment on that, but also, how did you feel when you even saw that represented at the Republican National Convention?
I'm trying to remember when it happened at the Republican National
During
Convention.
prayer, when they
Oh, didn't they do like a pagan prayer or something?
I definitely know they did like a Muslim prayer or something.
Okay.
Mhm.
I agree with the founders that you should be Christian to run for office, to be in public office. I just
Mhm.
because like if you think about Islam, it is antithetical
Mhm.
to our founding, to our culture. It just is. I mean, in Islam, like people think that, like, of course everyone knows that like murder and rape and all this stuff is wrong. And it's like, no. The God that Ilhan worships tells the men that it's okay to rape a non-Muslim woman. It is
Mhm.
good to Allah to do that. And I'm like, why do we want someone writing laws and signing bills that worships a God that thinks that?
Right.
And it's plain as day. It is a, if you ask me, it is a religion for low IQ people, because you can just do whatever you want. It's just like caveman, like, me horny, me get girl, she say no, don't care. So I
It's
don't like it.
packaged really nicely though, It's packaged very nicely. They look very organized. They look very concerned about each other. It's packaged in a way where it would be appealing to someone who is looking for a certain type of organization, or it feels like maybe there's a little less infighting than we see on the Christian side. Because here on the Christian side, you have your Methodists or your Episcopalians or your Baptists or your Pentecostals, and there's just a bunch of fighting all the time. So when you look at although Islam, they have their sects as well,
Mhm.
but a lot of times you don't see it as much, or you can't
Yeah.
identify them, and so it just looks very appealing. And so I feel like that's also why people aren't there's no high alert when they see this happening and they see communities being taken over. There's not a high alert. You just think, okay, we all kind of believe similarly, we're fine.
Mhm.
And then we end
Yeah.
up with a Minnesota, where you have a high group of people who have infiltrated, and they can get these people in office who think differently. Even here in Durham, we had a woman who was like the first Muslim woman to hold a city office. And I'm just thinking, why aren't people paying attention?
Mhm. I I I don't know. I don't know. I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier when we said people hijack the civil rights movement. So like they'll make themselves out to be like minorities. Like we're kind of a victimized class. Like when 9/11 happened, people were very mean to us and they were afraid of us, and even like Hindus, because we didn't know the difference between a hijab and whatever it is they have, the Sikh scarf thing. And so I think they make themselves out to be victims and minorities and hope to get a little bit of that sympathy from stupid people.
So
And I did
there's
not like what happened at the RNC convention, to be
right.
honest. Like I want Christianity to be the ruling ideas in this country. I think doing the secular thing hasn't worked. Look at what it's come to, because if it's like about what you feel and what you think, and well, we can all just coexist, man. It does not work. It doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, there's a comment in the chat that says Christians and Muslims have always coexisted. Do your homework. This isn't just about doing homework, because also the Quran says Christians are to be fought and subjugated because of their unbelief. Unbelief, they don't believe in the deity of Christ. They consider that unbelief. So when you say Christians are to be fought and subjugated because of their belief in the deity of Christ, you do your homework. I have done my homework, which is why I'm asking the questions and saying, is this something we should be concerned about? I think it is, which is why this show is called Shaking My Head with Shemeka Michelle, because this is what I'm shaking my head on. If you want to shake your head on something different, start your own show. But here, this is Shaking My Head with Shemeka Michelle. I think it's an issue. And so I'm asking my guest if she thinks it's an issue. And it's something that she's shaking her head on as well. I have an issue with that portion of the thought process of Muslims, and I want to know if that's something we should be concerned about. I think it is.
It is. I mean, what I've noticed is that they do, all of these third world countries, Somalia, India, all these other Muslim countries. What they do is they'll have their kind of like whitewashed, more intelligent, polished people like Mamdani. There's some actors that are Indian that they push out to talk about what Izzat is and make it all like seem pretty. They push out Ilhan Omar because she has a 90 IQ instead of a 67.7 IQ. So they'll push them out, and they'll have them kind of be the forerunners, and it'll be all polished. But what we don't see is behind them is a horde of graping 70 IQ fighting age males who are terrorizing women in Europe. If you think they can coexist, tell Sudanese Christians that and Nigerians Christians that, because they're not allowed to worship the God they want to. It's happening all over the place. So I don't know what he's been reading, but there's this book called Defenders of the West that describes some of the things that Muslims did back right before the Crusades, and that's why the Crusades happened. They don't want to coexist. That is a polished kind of
Thought process, yeah.
yeah, they like I said, they pushed out the whitewash people to give that kind of talking point, and then the horde is behind them ready to take over. Their whole ideology is to subdue, to take over, to dominate. So even if you're allowed to live, like even in the Byzantium Empire, the Ottomans took over and they were like, okay, some of you can worship your Jesus, but you have to pay a whole heap in taxes. So they still dominated in one way or another.
Yeah. And when it comes to just what's happening in Minnesota, I think that is just the start. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think that it's like, okay, they're going to be, that's the problem here. I think that's just the start. And if we don't pay attention, we could be saying right around this area, look at what's happened to North Carolina, because we aren't paying attention and we don't think that it's actually a takeover in mind. There's a reason that they're leaving that place, yet they aren't leaving that mindset there. They're bringing the same mindset here. And it's like, if you didn't want to be there, why are you coming here with the same beliefs and the same mindset? You're going to turn this place into that if we aren't careful.
I agree. Sometimes I wonder if the terrorist groups over there send people over so that they can make money, get welfare checks, and send money back. I wonder if that happens sometimes.
Yeah. And with the elites, I just don't think they care, because they know if their hand has been in let's say their family, if you go back to like the Rothschilds or whatever, they don't care what happens to the everyday person, because they feel like, okay, we'll be fine. My bloodline will be fine. My descendants will be fine. So they'll sell us out in a heartbeat. And I just think if we aren't paying attention, if we aren't careful, we could be like any other country, and we're like this far or this close to
Mhm.
being third world, or just being completely controlled, because we aren't paying attention, like you said, the things that have been whitewashed for us to not check for.
Mhm. Did you
Yeah.
see the interview with, Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes? Did you
Yeah,
watch
I
that?
I didn't watch the entire thing. I was
Mhm.
actually getting ready to go live yesterday, so I was trying to get my stuff together for the broadcast yesterday, but I had it planned, so I need to go back. I didn't realize it was 2 hours.
Yeah, it
I
was
watched
long.
maybe 20 minutes of it, so I have to go back and watch it.
It was really good. To your point about elites, you notice this in just in that one conversation. You've got Nick Fuentes, and whether you're a fan of his or not is neither here nor there right now. But
Mhm.
he lives in Chicago, and he's
Right.
seeing all like he kept talking about the West Side and the South Side of Chicago, and then you've got Piers Morgan, who lives in London.
Mhm.
And it's like, you don't see how these immigrants are and migrants are taking over your city and taking
Right.
over your country. And he's like, no, he told Tucker Carlson that he thinks that it's great, that, all you can smell in London is curry. He thinks it's awesome.
Mm. Wow.
But I was watching Steven Crowder, and they did a little bit of a background check, not a background check, but like a little fact check. And it was like, Piers Morgan lives in a neighborhood that's 7% Black. It's
Oh,
mostly
wow.
white, mostly elite whites. So he doesn't know what it's like to live in London, and he
Mhm.
doesn't care. If you just look at the grape statistics, and it's like up 200%.
Mm.
Like, there's not a woman alive. Any person with a vagina in London has probably been taken and essayed. And so he doesn't care, though. He's not fighting to change it because it hasn't affected him and his kids. And so
Exactly.
it's a similar thing when you're talking about these elites in America,
Mhm.
and they don't care that Minnesota doesn't look like what it used to for native Minnesotans. They don't
Right.
care.
Because they're not experiencing it. And that's what I feel like here when I saw ICE came through not too long ago, and I saw all the people out protesting. And I'm thinking, they aren't the people that are in the neighborhoods, such as the one I grew up in. Those aren't the people protesting. It's the people, let's say, in the Hope Valley, or those Crowsdale, those communities who don't have illegal immigrants living next door, um, with the trash all in the yard, with the doors open, with the music blasting, with the 15 cars in the yard. Like they they aren't living beside those. I've watched the community I grew up in go down for several reasons. I will say, as Black people around here, we haven't done a good job in keeping up the communities that we claim to love. But then also you have these illegal immigrants who come in, and a lot of times some of these slumlords, they will increase the rent.
Mm.
They want $2,000 for a house where the roof is falling in, because those illegal immigrants will fix it up, for them. They'll live there. They will, and then here you have a Black American who can't afford to stay in the city. I'm watching them move to all of the outskirts, Mebane, Oxford, Butner, because they can't afford to stay in Durham. And the places where they could afford, there's no place for them to stay, because some of these slumlords have the rent and stuff so high that you really can't afford it unless you're an illegal immigrant, and there's 12 of you in the home or something. It's just
Or free
crazy.
housing. Maybe the
Free
government's paying
housing,
for it.
yes. And
Mm.
so the people saying, oh, they should be here, there's no such thing as an illegal human, they go to their suburbs. They do these protests and then they go to their suburbs. They don't see them at their grocery stores. They're not in their churches. Like, they don't get to experience that. And that's what's frustrating, is because those are the loudest ones. They are the ones who have the money to protest or platform and make it just seem as anybody else is racist or xenophobic or whatever. And it's like, I'm with you. I liked America, for me here in the South, when it just was mostly black and white.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too. The other thing too is it's not just the liberals, the people on the right. It's like, well, we can just have a little bit of immigration. That'll be fine. And they don't understand that at this point, that is such a huge issue for those of us who are going to be living a little bit longer.
Right.
Because we're seeing that it's not going to be the same country that it was for us, for our children.
Mm-hmm.
And that upsets me. I mean, Somalis, they inbreed like crazy. And
Right.
so that means that as time goes on, the IQ level is going to go down even further. And these are going to be like people who just have no impulse control. And we're supposed to live next to them when they're getting free stuff. And so when there was a year where I got laid off and my husband got laid off. So we had to do like government assistance stuff. Not proud of it, but it was temporary because he worked in tech and there was like a hiring freeze on the whole industry, he was told. And so he was doing whatever he could. I was like editing videos and just trying to make up for what we weren't bringing in. It was a hard time. And then to find out that illegal immigrants were getting thousands of dollars in food stamps, and we were getting like, because of the high cost of food, because of Biden, it didn't go far what we were getting at all. And then like $1,300. It's like, what?
Right.
Some people had thousands of dollars on their food stamps card, and we were getting like little slithers. And that's the type of thing that the young people are hearing and seeing. They're getting free housing. They're getting grants to start businesses. When I have business ideas, I'd like to start, but I don't have the capital to do it. And I'm not saying I want money from the government. I would like a chance, but it's just, it pisses you off when you see that you're treated like the immigrant and they're treated like sons and daughters of the country. Like, I'm a daughter of this country. I've been here for generations. And I'm being treated like I just got off the boat, and it pisses me off. And the Republicans and the boomers that are conservative, they need to understand that. And if they want our vote and they want us to continue supporting them and volunteering for them and using their talking points on platforms like this, they got to get with the program.
Right.
And because Gen Z is not playing that game.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they are not. And if we aren't careful, they will be on the other side, because like you said, I don't want to be with the people that don't even take me seriously. That's one of the things I will say I appreciate about Nick Fuentes. And I know people have their own thoughts about him, but he's saying like, hey, I'm in, I think somebody was trying to put him down saying, well, he doesn't have this, that, or the other. And he's like, that's the point. I'm in the generation and we're telling you we can't afford to live. We can't buy a house. We can't get married and have children. But instead of you all trying to do something about it so that life is affordable, y'all are fine, boomers. You have your houses. You probably paid for.
And their advice sucks. Their advice doesn't work. It's like, well, don't go to restaurants. We don't.
Right.
Don't live outside your means. Can't afford to.
Okay.
Like, get an old car. Got one.
Right.
Like, what else? Because
it's
else? Like, if you make $50,000 a year today, they don't go that far. If you made it in the 80s, you were doing pretty well. It's like, you don't see how there's a breakdown somewhere. And I saw Dave Ramsey was like, young people need to stop going to restaurants. I just wanted to punch him in his mouth. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yes. Yes. And I thought Dave had some very good advice, 10, 15 years ago. Like, okay, always have this money on hand so that in case of an emergency, or how he would say,
Sure.
if you can't afford to pay for it, you can't afford it. Well, so much we can't afford to pay for it now. Some of it's food. If you look, there are people using credit cards to buy groceries. That's crazy.
Meanwhile, the illegal immigrants are getting treated like kings.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy. I mean, health insurance. We're not having enough babies. So who has to have the babies? I mean, I'm not the youthful of youths, but my uterus still is working and functioning. So I have to have the babies, and then these Gen Z chick has to have the babies.
Right.
But boomers allowed the feminist ideology to run rampant. So now these women don't want to have babies. And on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, if you are a woman that wants to have babies, you and your husband are gonna have to be like, we're gonna have to live in a little hut if we
Yeah.
want to have children, because we can't afford the house and the car and the kids and the health insurance and the food. It's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And
you have to make sacrifices. Like, I guess we
right.
won't eat, but we'll have children.
Yes. I'm just gonna see if there's a few comments that I should read. Thank you, Sharisa, Melina, Khalees, Kayla, Cougar, Scott Harris. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Carolyn. Free Speech says Minnesota, land of 10,000 frauds. Step aside, Santa Claus. ICE is coming to town. Merry Christmas, America. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
All I want for Christmas is ICE to show up.
Mhm.
Hi, Pete. Thank you for being here. Somali want a cracker.
Is that a this channel inside joke?
Look, we have so many comedians here. Sharisa says, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's a reminder, because I always forget. Just take a moment out, guys, to like the show. If you aren't subscribed, because we have a lot of people who watch but are not subscribed to the channel, I just encourage you to maybe hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching on X, I encourage you to watch somewhere else, because you know, X is not doing what X promised to do. Scott says it's weird watching the trajectory of Dr. Oz's career, right? 10 years ago, he was telling us the best wine, which was, that was healthy for you to drink.
He's kind of annoying to me. I don't know why.
Yeah. Scott says America is basically just a strip mine for third worlders at this point. Yeah. And Pete says, about time blacks start getting sick of today's immigrants. Yeah, I'm tired. There's this place here. It used to be a black hospital here in the city. Lincoln was a hospital. It was Lincoln Hospital, and it was a black hospital. And then it became a community center. But even when it was a community center, it was predominantly black. Like, you could go in and they would have like some of the patients, big frames with like a bunch of different pictures in the frames of just the patients there. And it felt like a community center. Like, you would look at the pictures and say, oh, I know this person or that person, like you went to school with them, and or something like that. Now you walk in and it's like Guadalajara. And because they are so heavily populated with Hispanic people, they have a lot of Hispanic workers there, because of course they're bilingual and they can speak the language of the patients. But you walk in and they look at you like, why are you here? This, what are you doing here? And it's like, the name of this community center came from a black hospital. How dare you treat people the way that they treat them? Like, why are you here? They're so nasty and so rude. But yes,
They're
I'm
rude at
sick of them.
restaurants. Chipotle isn't a community center, but I'm mad now because you don't even want to go to Chipotle, because I told the girl I wanted a soft taco for my kids, and she said, "Taco, soft, soft, soft." And then she pulls out the hard tacos, and I said, "No, soft, soft taco." Ugh.
Yes, they don't understand. That happened to my daughter probably about a month or so ago. She went in Firehouse Subs, and neither one of the people behind the counter spoke English and could
They
not
didn't even bother to learn
understand.
what tomato,
Ugh,
wheat,
it's so
turkey.
frustrating because, like, who's hiring them and why? Like, where are we? Is everybody trying to just be social media influencers, basketball players, rappers? Like, we don't have enough people who want jobs. When I was coming up
I don't believe
as
that.
as
Yeah.
a teenager, or even someone in college, like Firehouse would be the place to work.
Yeah.
Now you go in McDonald's, they don't even speak English.
I was gonna say that's why I call them thieves. Anybody here illegally is a thief, and at this point, anybody here like on migrant status, like a lot of these Somalis and stuff,
Mhm.
I think they're thieves.
Scott Harris says, when you steal $1 billion, I'm not scared of being called racist no more. Me either.
Mm-mm.
I'm not scared. Let me just say it. Pete says civil rights movement has always been driven by the communists. Absolutely. Pete said, "Retarded." Come on, lady. Yeah, they want you to
I'm trying to
say
make sure she doesn't get taken down.
right. It's so funny because me and my he'll say it for us. Me and my kids laugh at the word grape
Yeah, it's
because
stupid.
it's stupid, and I feel like it kind of waters down the how terrible it is,
Yeah,
because maybe once when you hear grape, it doesn't feel so bad. It's like, oh,
that might be
great.
part of the point. Yeah.
I eat those every day,
Mm-hmm.
no big deal.
You have to say
Um,
essayed.
yeah. Bless 7773. We are definitely not the same. Pete says forced integration destroy a lot of lives. I totally agree. And then we have someone here calling us the
I saw that.
N-word, calling us nigger with the ER. I don't know. Maybe that's supposed to make us upset.
I think
I
that's
don't
my
know.
husband. I'm kidding. I told him not to do that.
I think it was supposed to make us upset, and I'm thinking, you're on the wrong channel if,
Yeah.
you wanna see somebody get upset with that word and kinda go off and cry, is not gonna be us. Sharissa says that Indian food smells like seasoned shit.
That's so mean.
Yeah, she doesn't hardly eat anything. I like in some Indian food.
Me
Scott
too.
says, I like Indian food. Doesn't mean I need them to be a significant portion of the population. We've got recipes. Exactly. I can make something good. I can make something good, curry tasting. King Reed says they waiting on that 40 acres and a mule. I guess they gonna wait on, right?
Mhm.
It's not coming. It's not
Mhm.
coming. And that's one of the frustrating things for me. Like, you'll see politicians say, we're going to have this meeting. And it's always when there's an election coming up, right? We're going to discuss reparations. And just the word reparations, even if it's attached to we're going to discuss it, the Black people are like, yeah, they're going to discuss reparations. Well, it's just going to be a discussion.
Exactly.
Like, they're not gonna do it. But they fall for it every time, which is why it's so funny. He had the laughing faces, and I'm like, yes, because we
Mhm.
know it's not happening. Hey, I think I like this lady. Yeah, me too. I like Nzinga. Yeah. You can see news report in Minnesota. They refuse to speak English and consider themselves Somalians with loyalty to their country first. That's in contravention to the oath to become citizens.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, and then he says it's sad because Ethiopia was a Christian nation in the 4th century. Arguably the first besides Armenia. Oh, wow. Yeah. Hi, Miguel. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Someone says Ilhan is a plant. Carolyn, did I say hello? Yeah, let's see. George Carlin is one big club and we aren't in it. Dave Chappelle, when a black man turns down millions, then the curtain opens and the real white people pick out. A lot of those white people are J's. And we know what the J means. Bless was the one that said, do your homework. I respect your opinion. I just don't agree on that point. And that's fine, Bless. We don't expect you to agree. We had this conversation. This isn't a cult over here. You don't have to agree. We're going to disagree. My issue was the whole do your homework. Don't assume that homework hasn't been done. We can do homework and still disagree. Scott had a friend act like he was the victim when 9/11 happened. Dude was Indian or Samoan. They thrive off victim status. Yes, they do. Scott, you have Scott. Scott has been really, really commenting. Thank you so much, Scott. He's been keeping the chat alive and going. Miguel says both the worldly governments and organized religions will usher in the adversary. It's plain to see. That's why the Bible warns us to not be with the world. Hi, Angela. Thank you for being here. They have stated time and time again, the plan is to take over the West. Yeah. Yeah. And Cougar says it's England. It all used to be 7%. Prince, great conversation. Pierce pretty much lectured and scolded Nick Fuentes the whole interview, continuously interrupted Nick, and then imposed his own agenda. I have to go and watch it. Just that 20 minutes that I saw was really good. And in the 20 minutes I watched, that's when Pierce was saying, "Aren't you a white supremacist?" And it was like he had his thoughts already. He wasn't even trying to ask him. He was telling him, "You're a white supremacist and you don't want women to have rights." And
Oh, he
like,
starts insulting him. Like he goes into like his sexuality. You're gay, right? You're homosexual.
right.
I was just like, dude, this is not an interview. It was not at all.
Yeah. So I got to go back and watch it because that I
It's pretty
saw, I
good.
felt like Nick handled himself really
Mhm.
well. Pretty much
Mhm.
like, I'll accept the labels. He called himself an incel, you know.
Mhm.
He said, "I accept the labels. I just don't think they're that important." And I feel
Mhm.
like that kind of deflated Pierce a little bit. Like, let me come up with something else. AZ Mom says, without assimilation, we are doomed. Right.
Get him out.
Yeah. Pete
They're
says,
not going to assimilate.
yeah, not all boomers are boomers. Right. Yeah. Some of you are not. Oh, are you a boomer, Pete? I'm sorry. I just said some of you. That's not what I meant to say. Yeah, but I'm correct. I mean, you're right. Some are not boomers. Hi, Joseph. Thanks for being here. He spoke to both of us. I think this is maybe Arizona Mom. You should call the illegal aliens the legal term. We should call them illegal aliens. I agree they are illegal aliens. I have no problem with that term. They want us to change it and because no human can be illegal. Yes, they can. So you're right, Arizona Mom. Hi, Nicholas. Thanks for being here. No cap at Indian food. At the gym, I walked past one guy who smelled like he spent the night simmering in a crock pot of curry.
That's so disgusting.
Yes. Hi, someone from that's part of the Fearless Army. Love you, Shemeka. Thank you. Thank you for being here. bars and no bull. Joseph, what aspect of Somalian country was worthy of being adopted fully into American society? I don't know any. What?
It's the cousin effing.
That's what Americans want?
I guess so.
Maybe the Americans in, like, I don't know, Appalachian or somewhere. Is
They're
that the
already
wrong
doing
thing? Is that the wrong thing to say? But yeah, that is exactly what's happening. I want to just remind people of the movie. Is it Captain Phillips, where he says, "I'm the captain now"? If we aren't careful, that's what's going to happen. And these Minnesota pirates are not the ones from the movie. They are real, and so is the danger they have caused and are causing. Fraud thrives where systems are weak and silence is rewarded. I want you all to share this story. Make sure you tell somebody, because we need to demand some accountability, and don't let somebody hijack the truth. And at in a greater sense, don't let these people hijack America,
Yes.
because this is where we stay, and this is where my grandchildren will stay one day.
Mhm.
I'm fighting for the right of my grandchildren to experience life like I knew it, or it's to least look similar,
Mhm.
So for me, get them all out.
Yep.
One by one, 10 by 10, get their abuelas, whatever they call them in Somalia, get them out, get them all out. If you were
Mhm.
not born here, and I will go as far as to say, for some of them, there's been that question, like, who was supposed to benefit. Some of them come right across already pregnant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get
Get out.
Get out.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hit the road, Jack. And
Mhm.
Nzinga, I really appreciate you being here today. I wish you could come back tomorrow. Think about it. Uh, think about it when we talk about the Christians being persecuted. Maybe it could be nap time for the girls again. But
Oh, they did not take a nap. I can hear them, and I'm like, I'm gonna go upstairs, and something is destroyed. But
uh-oh.
I'm
Hope
converting my
there's no
ways.
hair cutting going on. My oldest daughter, when she was younger, she cut a little piece out of her hair, like a whole ponytail. Thankfully, I had them in several small ponytails. She cut a whole ponytail out of her head, but
I
said
did the same thing,
her imaginary friend told her to do it.
of course.
Yeah.
I did it to myself, and then I was like, "Here, cousin," and then my brother, and I was like, "You too," so that we all had patches.
Yeah, she had a little patch, and thankfully her hair grows fast, but God, but at this moment, I can't think of her imaginary friend's name, but she was always telling her to do something she had no business doing, to the point where one day I said, "She's gonna make you get your butt whooped."
Uh-huh. How convenient.
Right. Yes, but you're welcome anytime. Come back whenever you're ready. I still want to have the conversation that I was telling
Mhm.
you about,
Yeah,
just in
let's do
case
it.
that is your husband that called us the hard ER. No, I'm just playing. But we got a lot that we could talk about.
Okay,
Head
yeah, yeah.
shakers. Uh, first of all, Nzinga, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me here, Zinga Harris, on YouTube, and at Choco Gun Bunny on Instagram and Facebook. Yes.
Now let me ask you something.
Mhm.
Is the N silent?
It can be.
Okay. But it doesn't
But
matter if it's
in
not.
some countries, I think in Nigeria it's Mzinga,
It's
but in
what?
like Kenya, Mzinga.
Nzinga.
And
Oh.
then in Kenya, one Kenyan told me it's Nzinga, and then another one said it's silent. So if you call me Nzinga, I'm gonna respond. One time, this white lady at a job I was working at called me ninja, and I was like, okay,
Oh.
okay.
Ninja is hilarious.
uh-huh. I went with it.
Yes. Um, Head shakers, please join me tomorrow. I will be here the same time, same place, shaking my head about something else. Thank you for tuning in and listening to us complain about Somalians and the rest of these illegal immigrants. We do not want them coming to America saying, I'm the captain now. Peace, guys. I love you.